Hi, this is Dee at Aloha Astro. Let's take a look at the forecast for the full moon in Leo, which is occurring technically on February 16th, 2022 at 11:56 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it will be at 27 degrees 60 minutes of Leo. But today we've got the build up to the full moon, and that moon's pretty darn full and pretty bright. So I have the feeling, since we have a lot of the same dynamics going on today as tomorrow, particularly with one T-square after another repeating, we're going to be feeling it the same. So view today as a full moon intensity day and tomorrow as a full moon intensity day. And actually, when we get to the late afternoon tomorrow and the moon shifts into Virgo, it's going to back off a little bit and it won't be quite as extreme as today might feel. So let's take a look at the forecast that I've written. Full moon in Leo, Tuesday, February 15th and Wednesday, February 16th, awakens dormant desires and unacknowledged talent, while also revealing the dangers of moving beyond your comfort zone and the potential pitfalls of changing your future plans or life path, as the waxing moon forms two strong fixed T-squares, one right after the other, as well as a quincunx aspect which first tags Venus and Mars in Capricorn and next shifts to Pluto in Capricorn conjunct Mercury in Aquarius. On Tuesday, the T-square involving the Moon, Saturn in Aquarius, and Uranus in Taurus illuminates the problem behind your emotional discomfort or desire for change, and on Wednesday, the T-square of the Moon, Sun in Aquarius, and the North Node in Taurus brings an awareness of a karmic lesson learned, which can release you to move forward, or gives you the courage to create a new version of yourself. Expect full moon intensity and dramatic displays of emotion both days, but it will be exactly full at 11:56 a.m. Eastern Time on Wednesday. By 4 p.m. on the 16th, the moon enters pragmatic, Mercury-ruled Virgo, and any colorful emoting which could have occurred may seem excessive or even silly as soon as modest Virgo takes over. Leo is an artistic, ardent, courageous, playful sign, and the two T-squares of this full moon could be reminding you to take your childhood dreams as well as the social and creative side of your life seriously. Leo rules the heart, and no matter how challenging life may be, you will be happier with your choice if you follow your heart. So let's take a look at what we have going on in the sky and the other aspects that might be influencing you at this full moon as well. And that North Node is getting some extra support as well as some challenge with a trine to Pluto. So we have an exact trine there, 27 degrees for Pluto, 27 for the North Node in Earth, and there can be very strong willpower and determination that goes into what? Making a change. That change may seem like the better thing to do, and the now or never intensity can come about because Pluto is the planet of power, upheaval, crisis, transformation, and control, which has rulership over Scorpio. So we have some Scorpio overtones in there, that very all or nothing, do or die energy, and Mercury at 0 degrees of Aquarius is now feeling that quickening of, I need to take that risk or chance. I need to change. I need something different. And the North Node is about your life purpose or fate, destiny, karma, the feeling of something that you should be doing or a path you should be following. And it may be time for a new path. It may be that finally you know you have to manifest something or materialize something, make something real. No matter what other people might be saying, it's coming down to what's most important for you, because we have that independent streak of Aquarius where you have to, march to the beat of your own drummer. And of course, we've got the moon going through T-squares. The first one here, the line is rather faded between Saturn at 17 and Uranus at 11, but that's close enough to create that T-square here with the moon in Leo opposing Saturn And that's how we're viewing it today on the 15th. Tomorrow, you're going to find the second T-square pop up involving the sun, as we have that opposition occurring with the full moon fairly exact around 12 in the afternoon, 11:56 a.m. to be exact. And now we really are tagging that north node, where it's an imperative. It's something you have to be courageous about. And the light of the sun bringing that consciousness or awareness to what you must create, what you must do, what you must follow. So it's pressure. T-squares are always work or pressure, but they're what activate or motivate us to bring out our talents, or believe in ourselves enough to do something, or try something even if we might fail. The trines and the sextiles are the things that come easily, where there's natural flow or support, whereas those T-squares can actually produce something very constructive, and they're harder to take for granted or to avoid. It usually means, okay, it's time to do the work. And definitely, as we have Saturn involved today, we're looking at, well, what's the problem, or what's the discomfort, or what's the work that we have to be doing? How can we go about that would be the next thought. And we have some interesting support going on with Jupiter to Uranus. And of course, the moon is squaring Uranus today, and we're wanting that change. And then we get this little tickle going on with the sextile to Jupiter in Pisces, which can believe just about anything and is very idealistic and expansive and can consider all possibilities that change could be for the better. And we have a trine going on between Uranus in Taurus and Venus and Mars, which are tightly conjunct in Capricorn. You have to figure out what would really make you happy and what do you really truly want. And then go for it and trust that as you go after what feels best for you or what you really desire, that the doors will open and there will be flow and harmony, and change will not be such a scary thing. Yeah, there's a little bit of fear built into the opposition always. And interestingly, when I was looking for pictures of the full moon, and of course the moon's in Leo, so we look for something with a lion, and I've used that painting before. Forgive me for using it twice, but it is one of my favorite paintings, and it seems to embody so much of the idea of the full moon bringing things, bringing us out of the sleeping state and into a culmination of fullness and an awareness of something. And I also like that the figure in the painting, is there with their musical instrument, and the dormant creativity is there in the painting as well. And it's almost as if the innocence or the courage of this individual traveling alone and being in a vulnerable state and trusting under the night sky is a protective energy, where the lion feels no threat and is probably not going to eat them. So sometimes we have to step into that fear. And we have some of that energy going on with Saturn, because it is a fear-based planet. And Pluto as well can be fear-based, bring up fears, or bring people into our lives where we're projecting Saturn or Pluto outside of us, and they show up as somebody who's going to make us afraid, or test our boundaries, or make us work hard, or challenge us to step up to our authority or our power. And even with a trine, it can still be very much about determining for yourself that this is your path and this is what you're going to do. And Leo carries the questing energy, the heroic energy, that larger than life energy of wanting to, save other people and be seen as the hero, or to carry that idea of, if I take that risk or chance, because it's always got that opposite sign Aquarius as its shadow, where, okay, maybe I have to grow bigger and I have to take that risk. I have to go on that journey. I have to try a new thing so that I can grow and be more. So a lot of passion is tied into Leo, whereas Aquarius can be more logical, cool, detached, analytical, and follows the mind, and Leo follows the heart. And you may be weighing the balance between what you're analyzing, what you're logically trying to figure out today, versus what you are feeling. Because the moon is in Leo, go with your heart, go with your feelings. Ultimately, I think you will be happier when you do that. And yes, change can be scary. And especially if it means you're breaking something that's been long term, because we have the Capricorn energy there, which can show something that's long established, or when people are shooting on you, oh, you've already invested so many years in this job or this relationship or where you're living. Why do you want to go live over there? Why do you want to leave your job? Why do you want to leave this relationship? And ultimately, you have to decide, because if you're not growing, if it's not bringing joy, and if you feel like you're literally closing off from your life and not living, then it may be time for a change. So, as we do at any new moon or full moon, take some time to be by yourself, to connect with nature, or use whatever ritual or ceremony or tool, whether it's music or dance or whatever, writing, journaling, and tune into what your heart is telling you, and then think about your future and write your intentions. Write them as if you already have them. Write them as if you are already living that dream, and that you are already there in that life, and it will help you to manifest it more quickly. Keep in mind also, we're now out of the retrogrades that we've been going through, which made December and January very rough. And now we're free and clear until the end of April, when I think Pluto goes into retrograde. Something comes up as retrograde at the end of very last 2 or 3 days of April. But you have clear sailing now for the rest of February, even though we may still have a little bit of that Mercury shadow, and a lot of people are still cleaning up the mess from whatever the retrograde Mercury and retrograde Venus brought during December and January. But we are technically free and clear now, and able to move forward with less restriction. And it is the time, also the quickening of spring. We're beginning to come out of the winter, move toward the spring. So make your plans, be creative, and be bold, be courageous. Have fun and play as well. Think back to your childhood and the dreams you had when you were younger, and the things that you enjoyed doing when you were a child, because Leo rules the 5th house. Romance, dating, creativity, children, hobbies, competitive sports, gambling, anything that you could create, and the pleasure in doing it is tied up there in that Leo energy and the 5th house. Let's take a look at the Sabian symbol for that 28 degrees, because we round up to 28 degrees of Leo. Many little birds on a limb of a big tree. Keynote, a wide and perhaps confusing openness to a multiplicity of inspiring potentialities. There is a stage in the spiritual life which is not different from the everyday life, during which the consciousness aspiring to greater realizations or more impressive forms of self-expression feels itself flooded with new ideas and new possibilities. Well, there we have the Aquarius-Uranian shadow that opposes Leo. This can be very exciting, yet also quite confusing. It becomes necessary to focus oneself by limiting one's field of vision and activity. This third stage of the 30th fivefold sequence brings us the results of the 2 preceding ones. We should try not to be overwhelmed with potentialities, yet should enjoy the wonderful lightness of feeling this may bring after perhaps many days, months, or years of frustration or darkness. And I really do feel that the Leo energy, it is a sun-ruled sign, and it is warm, and it is so heart-connected, And it does convey that passion, the spark, the joy that we put into our creativity. And even though we have oppositions and squares at this full moon, there's still a lot of strength to be found in here. And we even have at the beginning of all of this a trine to Chiron in Aries, which is encouraging us to go after what we want, as does that quincunx there to a Venus-Mars conjunction in Capricorn. And whatever gives us joy and makes us feel vitally alive as if we are the shining sun should be what we are focusing all our actions, Mars, and our passion and desire toward. And doing it in a constructive way, that Capricorn energy. So whatever it is that you would really like to be doing, go for it. And I will see you next time when we get to a new moon. I believe it's the 1st or the 2nd of March. Until then, stay safe and be full of joy and creativity.